Hi and welcome. We are going to take a look at Teasing Song by Béla Bartók. It's from his collection For Children, Volume 2, based on Slovakian folk songs, and it's number 18. And I'm delighted to be looking at this at the request of Everett. This piece is currently an ABRSM Grade 4 piece. It's based on a folk song. So the first thing we need to do, surely, is to become familiar with that folk song. In this piece, Bartók plays it 3 times. We hear it sometimes in the left hand, sometimes in the right, and we hear it in 3 different keys: in E major at the start, in B major, and then at the end in G major. Interesting. Third apart. So let's get familiar with the melody. In the right hand, that's the B major version. Let's have a look. It starts on the 5th of the scale, and I'm looking now at bar 17. Where is he starting? Bar 17. Let's have a go through the melody. Notice how it moves mainly by step. There's a few chord things going on, and articulation is going to be so important. That first note, that's a tenuto sign. Hold, lean on that note. And we've got staccatos as well to worry about. And in bar 22, that sign, boop, a vertical thing, is a marcato. It's a bit like an accent. I don't get too hung up about it. It's got weight, it's got power, it's got presence. Enjoy arriving on that note. So here it is from bar 17, and I'm not interested in speed. We are just going to work it through steadily. 2 beats in the bar. I'm thinking 1, 2, that kind of thing. So those staccato notes, perhaps imagine that your keyboard is red hot and you don't touch it. That'll encourage a really short sound. And the tenutos lean in, they're like bold font. Let's hear it again. And the fingering in the ABRSM book, yeah, that makes good sense to me. Certainly you'll see what I'm doing. Mezzo forte, 1, 2. And notice that there's a crescendo growing there in the last 2 bars. Then again a crescendo. So there we have the tune. It's made up of 2 phrases, isn't it, if you like? And the whole thing makes how many bars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bars. Split into 2 lots of 6. Get really familiar with that. When you are familiar with it, you could then try and play it in other keys. We've already said that Bartók does exactly that. Let's try it in C major. It started on the 5th of the scale, didn't it? So it's going to start there. Let's see if we can just do it without looking at the music. You could do it in a different key each day of the week. So first of all, get very familiar with the melody. We've looked at it in that B major version. The other 2 times it's in the left hand. Let's look at that now. The very first time, bar 5, we are in E major. And these different keys may influence the scales that you wish to do as you warm up to practice this piece. So, E major, start on the 5th of the scale. Play the chord just to get my ear into E major land. Let's have a listen to it. Again, fingering, articulation. 1, 2. That same crescendo. Jump there in order to link those up. Crescendo. Again, the dynamics are identical to what we looked at a moment ago, aren't they? And it feels slightly less comfortable. Well, for me it does with my left hand. My left hand ain't as good as my right, as much as I would like to make it so. And that bit from bar 13, using the fifth finger, is slightly tricky. That finger is not very strong. And then the last time the melody comes in, it's back in this hand and it's in G major. I'm sure you know already which bar it is. We're looking at bar 29. 1, 2. Sempre piano, always piano. Then there's a little transition bit to take us back into E so that we can end in the key we started in. Jump the thumb. Our familiar crescendo at the end there. So there's the melody. And what in your practice you might like to do, I'm not going to do it now to save time, but just to play through the melody. This hand, that hand, that hand. Just to get really familiar with that. And then as a second stage, should we start to add in the chords? Read them through. Let's go from the right hand, straight in at bar 4. So offbeat thing going on. 1, 2, 1, 2. Easy. 1, 2, 1, 2. More tricky. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then it moves to the left hand. Let's have a look. Mezzo forte, just as we were at the start of the first time we played the melody. Accompaniment down here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice B major thing going on. Getting louder. And do use a fourth finger on that one. It's going to be useful because it sets us up for that one. Chord 4 in the minor. I didn't do the crescendo there, I'll play it now at the end there, but I do love that line in the middle there. Listen out for it, enjoy that phrase. Then we're back to here, and this is the piano last section. 1 and 2 and 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Sempre piano. And those tenutos, we talked about it being lean. We can lean in the context of a quieter section, so it doesn't suddenly become very loud. It just a lean, bearing in mind that we're playing quietly. Then that that bar's a bit. That's going to, and that is will be a bit tricky. I'm taking care to hold on to my thumb and third finger. There'll be a sense of slowing up for that bar as well and dying away a little bit before. Sort of a gallop in those 3 bars, accelerando, move on before the ending. It'll be nice and loud and growing there towards the end. Definitely take the 2 hands apart, get familiar with the melody, work your way through the chords. Now let's put it together. The very first bit, by the way, it's quite unusual this. The first 4 bars are at a different tempo than the next chunk. Although the first 4 bars are really just a scale up and then a held note, aren't they? So there's not much time to sort of feel a pulse, and then when we start the melody, it's saying, play it quickly. So I'm going to play it through now. As I said before, I'm going to ignore the quickness side of it. I think we can easily get hung up about, but it's got to go so quick. In my experience, the speed of something comes almost without being aware of it when we know it really well. When you've played it slowly and you know when I say know the music, I mean in there as much as in there. And then the speed will just gradually come and it will start to make sense at a faster speed for us. Well, that's how it works for me anyway. Yeah, sure, there's an element of technical stuff, and do work on your scales and other technical ideas, but don't get hung up about speed in the early stages of learning a piece. So now I'm going to run it through. I'll chat and stop and start as we go. And at the beginning, I just set a speed of about that. Here we go. 1, 2. Each one slightly quieter than the one. So that slight crescendo, those two final bars, both things marcato in that bar, and that's the first half, isn't it? And then the answering bit is move the left hand. And growing. And then it just shifts to a different key, very like changing a gear in a car. Whoosh, suddenly we're in a different world in terms of key. And a different register, quite high, isn't it? Yeah, get the third onto that D sharp. And I'm very much aware of listening to this hand, and I am playing that hand really clearly. It'll be clear anyway because it's high. And this hand is being the accompaniment. In practicing it that way, as I've just explained, it's also really helpful to prove to ourselves we can do it the other way around. Can we really control what each hand is doing? Did you spot my little mistake there as well? But can I play that loud and that one quiet? The second half. What's going on there, and then the last one, very, very quiet, and it's hushed all the way through, isn't it? Simply piano. Let's have a listen. Before I do the next bit, let's try that the other way around, the wrong way round. Let's just unpick this bar. There's actually more going on here than we might want there to be. The left hand is doing staccato, staccato, land and hold, whilst legato, holding on to 1 and 3, and then repeat that chord. So together, really slow. He's off, he isn't. Hold on to the F sharp right at the end of the bar. Ooh, lots going on. Yeah. And you will want to, I'm sure, drill that bar. It certainly foxed me the first time I looked at it. Then 36, accelerando. Then re-establish. That's a correct speed there for the last 2 bars. I'm now going to run it right the way through from top to tail, sort of getting a bit nearer to a performance speed. Wasn't my most perfect. I could think of the odd little thing I might have wanted to do better, but I'm not going to re-record it. It's a great fun one to work out. Lots to unpick. Work out this melody, work out this folk melody. Take care over the articulations. Is it staccato? Is it legato? Is it tenuto? Is it marcato? Keep an eye on the dynamics. We've got that growing thing at the end of each phrase as well. And have a lot of fun putting it together. And it should be, it's clear, allegro vivace. It's lively, it's fast, it's fun, and it's going to get even faster towards the end. Everett, have a lot of fun learning this one. If you have any questions, do get in touch. Take care. Bye-bye for now.